Uh. Oh, you know what happened? Watch this. Hold on. You ready? You ready? Where is it? Hold on. Oh, you gotta love it. Oh, where did it go? Also, what am I looking at? Hold on 1 second. What a way to start the show. Video capture device. Add existing. There I go. Hold on. Let's shut that one off. Hold on. Oh, look at me. The camera's going on an adventure. Hello and welcome to The Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of topics that may have come up during the week. What a heck of an intro that was. I'm your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg, whatever you feel like calling me. And welcome to you, my co-host, the chat. Always a fantastic time having you here through some crazy shenanigans. Okay, so what happened was this week I got a cam link and I set up the new camera. And I set everything up, but I only set up the HDMI stream for gaming. I did not set up the camera for the Silver Lining. So what you saw was the old camera is still set up. And that's what you saw. You saw the old camera set up, but I had just like put it behind the monitor. So it was like sitting on my speaker behind the monitor. So what you saw was sort of the back of my monitor and then like part of my room area. Because what else do you need salt for? Oh man, what a see, now it's funny because I still have the other camera is sitting right here, right? So what I could do is made me feel like a lost toy from Toy Story. Yeah, so what I could do is do this. Let's move. Hold on, let's move it all the way up. Let's do this. And then hold on. We're having fun here. Let's zoom it all the way up. Oh wow, it won't. I think I zoomed. Did I zoom too fast, or will not zoom anymore? Oh, it won't zoom any more than that. That's as much as it'll zoom. Hold on, let's see something here. Oh, is that as much as it'll zoom? That's terrible. Yeah, oh that's terrible. It's a wild view though. It's a pretty cool looking view. I would hope so. That seems it's very different. Oh god, you can see. Is that a new background? Yeah. We changed the background weeks ago, I think. All right, so I want because I still have this other camera, so I want to find something fun to do with it. But we'll find something cool to do with that camera. But hello, Bert Animal something, Latimer, Cyan Fox, AR, Rocky Bear. What is going on, everybody? Picathy, looking into the distance about. Tell us his edgy backstory. Yeah, that's Hold on, let's see. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do that. Hold on, I want to do this. Activate, and then I want to do this. What when we ponder things, it'll be like Dragoon Knight Champ for Sonya, what's going on? Now Twitch is finally showing. Well, Dragon, I just went live, so I don't know how. I don't know how long you were waiting to see if I was live or not. Mendez, what's happening? Are you psyched for tomorrow? I'm just terrified. I'm just nervous for tomorrow. I'm just after everything went messed up the first time. I had a bad weekend that weekend, and going to do that that charity stream was like the highlight of my weekend. It was supposed to be the highlight of my weekend, and the fact that it fell apart was just upsetting to me. You could use that camera angle for WoW. Yeah, you know what, Hero? What I wanted to do was have it so that it was zoomed in really far. So then, when I needed it, because I was gonna set up a button for it and everything, and then when I needed it, like when somebody said something stupid, when I sort of like rim shot or something like that, it would be like. It's the silver nugget camera. Yeah, anytime you drop a silver nugget, you cut to that. Yeah. Is tomorrow the Donkey Kong returns thing? Yes, tomorrow is the Donkey Kong's charity stream. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching the VOD on Twitch, it probably already happened. But yeah, tomorrow, November 23rd, is when we're doing the 24-hour charity stream. So it'll be the 23rd to the 24th from noon to noon. The 24 angle. Well, I Jefferson, it reminds me more of sitcoms that break the fourth wall. You know, you have the sitcoms and then they do something, but then they break the fourth wall and they're just like, oh no, I could give you like Saved by the Bell, when everything would freeze and then you would find out that Zach Morris was like a horrible person. Also, I tweeted you. I have to look it up. Oh, you feel so tech savvy. Yeah, Fresh Prince is one of the ones that I was thinking of where they used to do stuff like that. There was a show called Martin years ago, and I think once or twice they did something like that. That angle reminds me of the Olympic God statue. Zach Morris is trash. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of too. If anybody ever watched Saved by the Bell, like Zach Morris was actually kind of a terrible person. I commented on the amazing store. Oh, that's right. Hold on. Let's see what comment you made. I forget which one you made. I had a couple of people that commented on it. Hold on. Let's see here. That's some good stuff too. Sean Treblin, Troop Loop. Which one are you on here? You're not Dragoon Knight on here, are you? Hey, Aqua Sakura. I recall a fourth wall break in Family Matters that almost looked exactly like the zoom when you talk to someone in Oblivion or Fallout 3. I have both of those games, and I've never played either one of them. I have Oblivion on PS3. I just redid my shelf a little bit. You can kind of see it. So this shelf was PS2, right? PS2 and PSP. So the next shelf down, I had like my Saturn and Sega CD stuff. So I actually moved everything down one shelf, and then I put my PS3 games and then my few PS4 games. I don't have a lot of PS4 games. I changed it to my username to make it easier to recognize. Yeah, I don't have as you as one of the comments on here. Huh. I have to look that up. I'm looking at the right thing, right? Yeah. I like Fallout 3 in New Vegas. Todd, is that you? Never played any ES game. ES? I don't know what ES is. My actual is Aubrey. Hey, Lizard. You should do that fourth wall break with the Seinfeld thing. I want to use it. I want to use the other camera to do something. I maybe what I'll do is I'll have it because I wanted to have it on the side over here, and then but it's a little weird because I I need to light it. That's my problem with this camera. One of the reasons I wanted to switch cameras was because the Logitech camera, they're very bare bones in the sense that they don't save a lot of settings or anything. So sometimes you would tune in and like, remember when the camera would lag behind or the lighting would be off? It's because I had to change the settings every single time I turned my computer on because it wouldn't save the settings. I like having the camera, like I have the camcorder set up now. I like having that because that saves all of my settings. So all I have to do is turn it on and off, and then I'm good. And I've got a screen. It's like the flip out screen, the flip around screen, so I can figure out what's going on. Game Awards nominations, I only watch it to riff on it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about the Game Awards. It's a little weird. We have to talk about the Game Awards nominations because they just came out, but we're gonna end up talking about the awards again before the awards, and then we're gonna talk about it after the awards. After the after awards show. That's the thing. I always talk about how E3 and Game Awards, they're not really necessary, but they're fun. We always the Game Awards and E3 at the very least provide 4 episodes worth of topics. All year long, we get a pre E3 episode, we get a post E3 episode, pre Game Awards, post Game Awards, and this time we get to talk about the nominations too. Yeah, it's fun to talk about. And it's always fun to see what they're going to announce. Because some companies do use that time to make some announcements and all, and it's fun. It's fun. If watching Jeff Keighley faff about is amazing to me. It's good fun. World. Oh wait, where's my world premiere? That was good. You can do a PSA shot like don't play something. Well, no, what I'll probably do is like we can do that game was actually really, really good. What he doesn't realize is that I'm being super sarcastic. See, it'll be like it will stop everything and we'll cut to the other camera. Jump Force was nominated, but why though? Game of the year being a game that isn't even a month old. Yeah, Trios, what's going on? Because people have low standards. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we're gonna get to it. We'll definitely talk about that stuff. How's everybody's week been? Hopefully, everybody's week has been good. My week has been a little so-so. Not the. It's like, and let me ask you if anybody is good. I know that there's some of you out there that are going through some stuff too. This week has not been like the stuff that's going on hasn't gotten better, but I'm better. I'm dealing with it better. You know what I mean? I'm not as my anxiety hasn't been as high this week. My stress level hasn't been as high this week. Even though the things that I'm anxious and stressed about are still there. It's very weird, and I don't know what's going on. There's an old joke, not a joke, but like an old idea of, I've been less stressed lately, and I don't know if it's because I'm handling stress better or if I'm caring less, and it's you don't know exactly what it is, but whatever it is, it's working, right? Bad week. Oh boy, uneventful, and I slept way too much. It sounds good to me. My week was all right. Could be better. Could be better. Could be worse. I got a cold right now. Pokemon Shield has been keeping me occupied. I like how family-friendly games were Nintendo. Oh yeah. That's a big mood. Not good until I saw Half-Life Alex. Oh yeah, we have to talk about that too. I mean, for what little I can actually talk about that. Been good seeing something on Twitter that was starting to piss me off, so I left when I started streaming. Yay! See, I am refuge. Nope, I got it. I got it. You can change it to 20 seconds if you want, but I have it on 30 seconds as a standard. Cosmic Time Lord started a new job, so it's all good. Welcome. Week has been well. Things could be better, but things could be a hell of a lot worse. So yeah, I've been playing Pokemon Sword more, but I'm playing CTR right now. So my job's shutting down. My job shutting down Tuesday was the last work day with stuff on schedule. Ooh, so I got to go into work and sit around all day. I mean, that's got a job offer. See, there's nothing better than getting ready to leave a job and you already have another job. Like the second that happens, my one big experience with that, when I got my current job, I was working at a video game store and I had been working there for almost 6 years. And I talked to my boss. I said, look, I got another job. It was the middle of December. It was December 15th was the day that they hired me. And but I told them, like, I have to wait till the beginning of the year. I want to finish out the Christmas season because I worked at a video game store and the Christmas season was coming. So that's the biggest, I didn't want to leave them high and dry. You know what I mean? My boss, for better or for worse, he stuck up for me. You know what I mean? He looked out for all of us. He was very defensive of us, protective of us, I should say. So I didn't want to just ditch. So I said, you know what? I got another job, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to stay on until after the new year. That way I can work through the Christmas season, and you don't have to worry about hiring somebody and training them through the Christmas season. That's fine. Which I did. He got somebody else, and then I trained that person through the Christmas season. So I did all of that. There was a lot of stress at the job. The second I got the other job, the second they said you're hired, and I knew that I was going to be leaving the job, it got so much easier because for the last 3 weeks of me being there, I was there because I chose to be there. I could have just walked out, but I didn't want to do that. I made the conscious choice to say, I am going to stay here for the benefit of the job. And that, it said, because it was my choice, it felt so much better. It was so great being there. I remember going into work being happy, like being excited to go into work. I was pep in my step. You know what I mean? Like I was all ready to go, and I didn't mind. Customers would come in and they would give me attitude, and I would say okay, and they would leave because I knew I was leaving soon. It was fantastic. Whatever they have to deal with once you're gone, yeah, it's not your problem. Not your problem. It's been rather long. A lot of uni projects to deal with, plus a stomach bug. Has made me remember. Oh God, devout prayer of the porcelain god. I'm trying to reread Crisis on Infinite Earth before the CW miniseries. My problem with the CW miniseries is that I'm gonna have to figure out how to watch it. I don't have cable. I don't have local television, so I don't know how I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out, but I don't think I'll be able to watch it when it airs. Which I'm at a point right now where I like to binge stuff anyway, so I would probably just wait until all of it's done. I'm considering getting Disney Plus. I mean, it's $6.99. It's really not that bad because I want to watch The Mandalorian, but I know that they're doing The Mandalorian a little bit at a time, so I'm kind of waiting for it to be all done and then see if they have some sort of free trial and then watch it all at once. The CW app, yeah. How much does that cost? Is another streaming app, another $5-10 a month for one show that I'm gonna watch and then not watch anymore. Yeah, if I have to pay for it, I'm not gonna. CW app has recent episodes but not full seasons. It's free but has ads. Okay, I recommend Disney Plus. I have to watch the new episodes when I get home. Yeah, I'm hearing The Mandalorian is really good. It's just I also hear that they're like one episode a week or something, and I don't have the patience for that. I got a lot of stuff to watch. I'm trying to watch some shows. I tried to watch Konosuba on Crunchyroll, and it didn't work. Just Konosuba though, because then I switched over to Mob Psycho 100, and then I tested a few other shows. They all worked except for Konosuba. It's not Yoda. Stop calling it Baby Yoda. Yeah, okay, so that thing, I mean, no spoilers. No spoilers. Nobody does. You know how we are with our spoilers here. Don't do it. But that's not Yoda. That's a whatever race Yoda is. I don't actually even know what race. Did they ever name the race that Yoda is? I'm sure they have, and I'm being a bad Star Wars fan right now. I'd rather not give them, I'd rather not give the mouse the money, but you know what, Lizard? If I go and not give any corporations any money, I'd live in a tent in the woods, and even then, I'd be giving corporation that made the tent money. But no, I know what you mean. I know, and that's okay. That's totally fine. I totally understand it. I don't eat Chick-fil-A for the same exact reason. Have you heard of the anime Flying Witch? No. I've not heard of that. I want to watch Konosuba, but I really don't like Isekai that much. This Dr. Stone. I don't know what Isekai is. Isekai. But I don't know. They haven't named the species. The baby existing is a major. Oh yeah. So don't. Because I know that there was. I saw that there was question about where in the timeline this all takes place. Disney owns Chick-fil-A. No. Disney does not own Chick-fil-A, but Chick-fil-A donates money to anti-LGBT organizations. So I don't eat their food. Another world. Okay. Yeah, and then they posted something about how they were going to stop doing that, but it turned out that they're not stopping doing that. They're rerouting the money. It's a whole big thing, but we're not going to get into that. Isekai is a subgenre of fantasy and sci-fi in which character gets transported, summoned, or reincarnated. Oh, okay. No game, no life. Something like that. Yeah, the name of the race is Yoda. It's 5 to 6 years after episode 6. Okay, so there is a place locked in for it. Okay. But is the best he's the guy there. There was a show called Gargantia. Gargantia on a Verderous planet. That was actually, I liked that show. I thought that was good. Nice animation. Very, very beautiful animation. That was like that, where he gets sucked into another world. It's so funny that there's so many instances of that they have names for it. I love the anime is like that. Did anyone else here read Next Life is a Villainous? Yeah, let's so everybody settle down. I'm in the UK, so absolutely 100% have not watched. Oh yeah, that's right, because they haven't started. It's not until March, like March of next year. Yeah, that sucks. It's so weird that they're delaying it that much. This is so much. Mandalorian is everything I want from Star Wars. A chance to explore the planets and people. And what I want from Star Wars is what we were supposed to get. What was that show that we were supposed to get? I want to say 1313. I just want to explore the Star Wars world without Jedi and Sith. It's not all about that stuff. The rebellion versus the Empire from the original trilogy, none of that was about Jedi versus Sith, except for Luke and Vader. I just want 1313 was the game. But it was supposed to be set in the Star Wars world, but it was not about the Jedi and all of that stuff. That's all I want. All I want is, that's why I liked Solo. For the Solo movie, there's so much Star Wars world. There's so much Star Wars universe, and I want to explore more of it. And the Jedi stuff is one part of it. It's arguably one of the most influential parts of it, but I don't need it all the time. Yeah, just get away from Jedi, Sith, and the Skywalker legacy. There's other stuff going on that's more interesting. Like, wasn't there supposed to be some kind of show? I don't know, maybe it was just a theory or not. About, there was a show or something that was going to start up that was basically a cantina on Tatooine, and it was like it was about the people that come through that. Think what is it? Deep Space Nine. Star Trek Deep Space Nine was a stationary place, but the stories were about the place itself and the people that came through it. You know, a show like that, like not Mos Eisley, because Mos Eisley Cantina is basic at this point, but something where we get to see more of the universe. I think that's more interesting. Star Wars Cheers. Oh my god. I listen, until you said it, I didn't know I wanted it. Let's see. It's time to ask about the debt since we now have places to. I have no idea. I didn't know there was a Twisted Metal show. Pat Contra in his podcast talked about how he didn't like how Dark Forces series became all about the debt. Yeah, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't need to be all about that stuff. I just think there's more to it than that. I think that imagine Star Trek if you cut out everything except the Q continuum. Yes, John, what's his name? John Delancey was a fantastic character, and the Q continuum was a fantastic concept. But imagine if you cut out everything else. Jabba! Hey, how's it going, Jabba? Oh, shooter. Like, oh, that Jabba. Now I'm just thinking of the Cantina bit with B. Arthur from the holiday special. But yeah, I don't know. I want a little something extra. And one of my biggest argument whenever people used to say, Star Wars versus Star Trek, what do you like better, Star Wars versus Star Trek? I always said the same thing. This was a long time ago. Before we started getting TV shows and everything, my argument was always that I preferred Star Wars to Star Trek, but I preferred the fact that Star Trek had a more fleshed out universe than Star Wars ever did. Star Wars was always about Jedi and Sith and all of that stuff, and they never really fleshed out the rest of the universe. Now, definitely Star Wars over Star Trek, because now we do have more of a fleshed out universe. But in the old days, we had shows that for Star Trek that went all over the place, and we had 3 and then eventually 6 movies. You know what I mean? Like, they were there at the time, turn of the millennium, there were, 6 movies, and then that was it. And it was like, that's all we know about the Star Wars universe is Jedi and Sith and all of that stuff. Pretty excited for Rose of Skywalker. Sounds pretty cool too. Looks like it might be pretty good. I have medium hopes for Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars never ends. That means the actual war in the movies will never end. I mean, the war is over in the movies. The war ended. There's just conflicts at this point. As you get a Star Wars farm spinoff, like that one Family Guy episode. Discovery is Star Trek Discovery. I watched like 2 episodes of Discovery, and I refused to buy the CBS streaming service, so I never watched the rest of them. Have you gotten a chance to watch K-On? No, I have not watched K-On. I'm only just starting Mob Psycho 100, and I tried to watch Konosuba, and it wouldn't work. But I want to watch Konosuba. I tried to watch like Nichijou, and that's not on Crunchyroll. Like I have to sit down and search for all of these shows that I want to watch. I can like both, though. Don't like the current Civil War in the family. Well, Star Wars versus Star Trek is a dumb argument. You can like one over the other, but you don't have to like only one. I always think that. I think at this point, most people agree with that, and I think people just like it because it's fun. In Warcraft, for anybody that played World of Warcraft, there was always the Horde versus the Alliance, because you have to pick one or the other in order to play your characters. We would always joke like, for the Horde, for the Alliance. No, nobody really legitimately, like, no Horde players legitimately dislike people who play Alliance characters. It's just sort of fun. It's just a fun rivalry. When you're in the game, they have these PvP battles, and you get to play out that rivalry. But nobody's really like, oh god, you play Alliance. I'd rather not associate with you wiping your hands. You know what I mean? Like after you shake hands and stuff. I like best, and the thing you like is the worst. Yeah. What I like is right, and what you like is wrong. Do people debate over Star Wars and Star Trek because the two series have star and it's sort of not just because they have star, but at the time they were both the most influential space-based shows, space-based programs, I should say. They need to take another 10 to 15 year break where only TV shows, cartoons, and games continue. Well, remember, cartoons are only for kids. So you have to decide whether or not you want to do that. Do you mean that people can have preferences? Star Wars and Star Trek are too different to compare. Star Wars is fantasy that happens to take place in space, while Star Trek is straight up sci-fi. That's a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope conversation to have, because since they're not real, they're all fantasy, so it's a question of that's when you start that's all semantics. That's when you start getting into what the terminology is, and that's where like I said, that becomes a slippery slope of a conversation. Cartoons are only for kids. Looks at I do recall. They're both influential. There's just no question of that. Star Trek had influences right down into society. Star Trek was one of the first shows that featured a diverse cast, as heroes. It wasn't like all one people were the heroes and all other people were the villain. Like Star Trek had a diverse cast of heroes, and it was one of the first shows that really did that. But then Star Trek was a cultural phenomenon where it influenced how people talked, how people acted. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but my experience when talking to people about movies, Star Wars was the first time that people went to the theaters dressed up and gone multiple times. Whenever people talk about, I saw Star Wars this many times, that many times, I've never heard of anybody talk about movies like that anywhere else. I've never heard anybody talk about a different movie franchise as I have seen it this many times in the theaters. I like the extended lore of Star Wars, but it's also double-sided sword. Is that a Darth Maul joke? Where's my buttons? Some of the problems in the movies that are confusing or unanswered. Phasma are left in. Left to the novels and games. Lilac, that sounds like an anime issue to me. Also, Spider-Man is out of the MCU thanks to them, which is Spider-Man is not leaving the MCU, trust me. I think they worked out a deal where Spider-Man's back in the MCU. It was like a week later. The fandom menace has existed since before the sequels. Hey, Blue Wild Wolf. I think the internet makes it easier to share opinions, which is good, but it also allows people to be jerked. Yeah, of course. Whistles in Blaze Blue. Actually, I have a question regarding Star Wars. If it takes place a long ago, why is technology so futuristic? It's only futuristic to us. If you play enough RPGs, you will know that there are countless stories out there of lost civilizations that were more technologically advanced than the current civilization. That's always been the case. Plus, remember that it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That is clearly a more advanced galaxy than ours. I thought they announced that it was. Yeah, they fixed that. They fixed that like a week after it all messed up. There needs to be a new X-Men cartoon. No, they just need to air the old one again, which I think is on Disney Plus now. Stares at grandeur. Okay, let us move on to. I'm actually gonna use the topic. Oh my god, I didn't even set up my topics my topic images. I feel like a goof. What a goof. So we're gonna, because I don't have any topic images. What's this about Grandia? The Game Award. I feel like a goofball because I don't have the topic images up. The Game Awards have announced they've announced their nominations. So I think, when is the Game Awards? It's like December 12th. December 12th is going to be the Game Awards. I'm about as prepared as Google Stadia. Oh my God, we should probably talk about that a little bit later too. So the Game Awards have been announced, of course, and the nominations have been announced. There are a few issues with some of the nominations. I have a few questions. I know some other people have some more questions. I don't have as many questions because I don't care as much, but I do find some of these choices fascinating. It's an interesting field of nominations, so I wanted to sort of go over them and see how we felt about them. Like I said, I have a few issues that maybe you guys can all clarify for me. 50% of the awards are no, it looks like most of the awards seem to be for the normal things. There are a few categories for esports that I didn't know existed, and I don't know if that's just they've existed for a while and I didn't know, or if they're new. All right, so we're gonna go over some of these. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at the bottom. I'm gonna work my way from the bottom of the list up to Game of the Year. Because honestly, the ones at the bottom usually are the least significantly treated. So we have Best Esports Host. I don't know any of these people. I've never heard of any of them, so I'm not gonna give a pick for any of them. We have Best Esports Coach. I don't know any of these people. It looks like 3 of them are from League of Legends. There's a Dota 2 here, and there are 2 CSGO coaches. I don't know anything about them. So, moving on. Best Esports Event. We have the 2019 Overwatch League Grand Finals. We have EVO 2019. We have the Fortnite World Cup. IEM Katowice 2019. I don't know what that's for. League of Legends World Championship 2019 and the International 2019. The only game here that I play is Fortnite. I do like the organization of the event itself. I do like when I watch some of the Fortnite World Cup, and it is fascinating. It's wild to see. I mean, like any esport, it's wild to see the level at which some of these people play. If I have to give it to anything, though, I'm going to give it to EVO. Specifically because EVO, as far as I can tell, EVO, the International, and I don't know what the IEM one is. If anybody knows what IEM Katowice, it's IEM Katowice. If anybody knows what that is for, I would like to know, like, if that's for a specific game. One of the reasons I was gonna say EVO is because EVO is a multitude of games. You know, Overwatch is Overwatch, Fortnite is Fortnite, League of Legends is League of Legends. The International, obviously, unless there's a game called the International out there, the International seems like it is a multi-game event. EVO 2019 is a multi-game event. The Intel Extreme Masters Season 13 World Champion. Okay. Oh, so wait. So it was the 4. Okay, so IEM is just for CSGO. All right. So then that's out from me. So to me, it would probably be between the International and EVO, which I think EVO is a better choice. Again, because it is a multi-game event. I think that's more interesting because that to me is an esports event, not just a Fortnite event, an Overwatch event. I like that. So I would pick EVO. Reason, yeah, it has variety. There's more to it than just. Now, the one thing I will hold against EVO is that I think it's all just fighting games. I would like to see an esports event that covers a multitude of genres. You know, where a game or one or two games is picked to represent first person shooters, to represent what is it? MOBA games. To represent fighting game. You know, you have a couple. Obviously, there's a lot of different types of games, but I would like to see an event that has a major competition for multiple genres of games rather than just a whole bunch of fighting games. Since that doesn't exist, we'll stick with EVO 2019. I mean, it's the biggest one. It's the most promoted one. It's going to be the one that gets the most popular votes because all of this is just popular vote. We need a Tetris 99. Yeah, we do need a Tetris 99 event. Best esports team. I don't follow esports teams. You got Australis from CSGO, G2 Sports from League of Legends, OG from Dota 2, San Francisco Shock from OWL. I don't know what OWL is. Overwatch World League. And Team Liquid from CSGO. I've actually heard of Team Liquid. So we're going Team Liquid. I've heard of Team Liquid. Best esports player. You got... I'm going to give it to the guy from Fortnite. I've heard his name. Everybody else. We got Kyle Buga Giersdorf. I'm sorry if I'm gonna annihilate these names. Lee Faker Sang Hyok from League of Legends. Luka Perkovic from League of Legends. Alexander Kostelyev. Alexander Kostelyev. And Jay Sinatra 1. Yeah, Booga's on here. Kyle Buga Giersdorf. Plays Immortals in Fortnite. I've heard that name before. That's what we're going with. What's Team Liquid? They're esports teams. They're esports teams. Best esports game. Okay, so this is the one. This is probably the one that is most interesting to me, is best esports game. You got Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Dota 2, Fortnite, League of Legends, and Overwatch. I'm hacking up today. I am going to pick Fortnite on this, and here's my reason. I'm going to pick Fortnite on this. Fortnite is actually on another category, and I have a question about why it's on there, but we're going to go with this for now. I'm going to say Fortnite, and I'm going to tell you why. I have tried to watch tournaments for each of these other games with the exception of Counter-Strike Global Offensive because I'm not a huge military simulation person. I find the games to be too hard to follow. I find League of Legends and Dota 2 to be very difficult to follow because it's small characters on the screen and I always get super lost. Overwatch moves way too fast. I personally... hey, Real Edgy. And hello to everybody if I have missed you. It's all a bit too fast-paced. When I watch Fortnite tournaments, I like Fortnite tournaments because depending on how you watch it, sometimes there are streamers who stream themselves in the competition and it's easier to follow just them. Usually when you watch the actual organized events, what you're seeing is they will follow camera to camera. They'll jump from person to person. They make it easier for you as a viewer to watch everything. Like, it is clear, or at least it feels like Fortnite was designed with the intention of being able to watch the multiplayer play out in this way. It was designed with the idea of esports in mind. That's how I feel when I watch Fortnite tournaments. So to me, that's going to be my pick. I have watched Diablo multiplayer and I kind of have the same problem. I get lost. I look at a big blur and I just wait for somebody to come out victorious. So Greg, when are we playing Fortnite? Not today. Not today. Not this weekend, unfortunately. I'll give it to Fortnite because it's the only one I played. Ace Combat wasn't even nominated. Back to the old grind later, Hero Hyrule. Thank you so much for stopping in. I dropped League of Legends this. While I did enjoy the game loop, The issue was that the community was so damn toxic, which I have heard multiple times. At this point, 14 is taking up my online game too. Well, Trio, stick around because 14's on here a couple of times where I'm going to question whether or not it should be on there. Okay, this next category, I'm a little disappointed that I was not called for. Content Creator of the Year. My phone's right here. I don't know why. I didn't get a call. Yeah, this year. We got Courage, whose real name is Jack Dunlop. Dr. Lupo, which is Benjamin Lupo. Ewok, which is Soleil Wheeler. We got Graphic, David Martinez, and Shroud. Michael Grizik. I'm a fan of Dr. Lupo. I am actually a fan of Dr. Lupo. I have watched Courage and Shroud. They seem like decent people, but I don't know. I prefer Dr. Lupo. My question is that these people, this is called Content Creator of the Year, and these people all seem to be esports related. I don't think that works. It should be specified that way. And these people all seem to be related to esports related games. Content Creator of the Year sounds like a broad category, but its nominations are narrowly focused. And that seems to be a problem for me. If you were nominated, I'd vote for you, but only because I do not know any other really big ones. Ow. Yeah, that's my problem. Dr. Lupo, Courage, and Shroud, I know from Fortnite. I know that they play other games, but I know them from Fortnite. I know them from esports competitions. I do not know them from any other content creation. Ewok and Grevk, I don't know them at all. I feel like I've heard the name Ewok, but I'm also a Star Wars fan, so that might be where I heard it from. Yeah, there's more to content creation than esports alone. I mean, content creation was around before esports. So it's weird that they label this Content Creator of the Year, and it's only esports-related personalities. So I have a problem with that one. Okay, fresh indie game presented by Subway. I don't understand the point of this, but Disco Elysium, Gris, My Friend Pedro, Outer Wilds, which threw me because I thought it said Outer Worlds at first, Slay the Spire, and Untitled Goose Game. I think Untitled Goose Game should win everything that it's nominated for. I think it is a fresh indie game. If that's what we're saying, it's definitely a fresh idea, and it to me embodies what an indie game is supposed to be, which is a delightful take on gaming that is different from what the AAA companies are doing. And that to me is one of the crowning features of indie gaming, is that AAA companies aren't doing this, so indie companies are. I think Goose Game is the ultimate example of that. Okay. Here's where I get confused. Here's where I start to get confused. Best multiplayer game. You got Apex Legends. You got Borderlands 3. You have Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You have Tetris 99. And you have Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Here's where I get a little confused. What categorizes it as a multiplayer game? Just that multiple people can play the game? I'm looking through the other categories here. Okay. So let's go back here. Let's go back to... Oh, that's okay. That's where we have to. All right. I would say Modern Warfare because of how they nailed cross-platform. I'm surprised Final Fantasy 14 isn't on there when it's under other sections. Tetris is nice to see, but no Smash. Isn't it best online? No. According to this article I'm reading for the Hollywood Reporter, it just says best multiplayer game. I don't know that I understand it, because I thought there was. Let me look this up here. Game Awards 2019 best multiplayer. Let's see here. See, I'm seeing it labeled best multiplayer game. I assume any game that can have 2 or more human players. Okay, I assume any game that can have 2 or more human players. But not together. See, that's my thing. To me, there's multiplayer and online multiplayer. My understanding is that all of these games effectively are single player games. You play with other people in an online capacity, but these are not multiplayer games that you sit around and play with each other. So I guess the definition of that has changed. Now, if that's the case, that's the definition of a best multiplayer game now, why wouldn't Fortnite and CSGO and all of that stuff be on here? What designates multiplayer from esports game? You know, does there have to be a tournament set up for it? Because I'll bet you there's Apex Legends tournaments set up somewhere. I can almost guarantee you there's Call of Duty tournaments set up somewhere. That must be the reasoning they're going with, because otherwise I do not see a reason for Tetris 99 to be nominated for this category. Yeah, that should be a Smash. Yeah, if that sounds like Smash Ultimate, because Smash Ultimate has a 4 and even an 8-player multiplayer mode. You know, there's couch co-op in that, or couch multiplayer. So I question what this is, because yes, in person, these are all single player games. You have to have an online connection in order for these games to be multiplayer. I'm sure Dota 2 has tournament, but Dota 2 is in the esports thing, not multiplayer. I'm questioning why some of these are multiplayers. Multiplayer and must work on your spelling errors. I don't know. Multiplayers are pretty interesting. Okay, out of these games, I mean, obviously I like Tetris 99 the best, but see, that my problem is I'm going to pick Apex Legends. I'm going to pick Apex Legends on this for no other reason than Apex Legends. My understanding is that there isn't much of a story without the multiplayer. You know, the multiplayer seems to be the focus. Call of Duty has a fleshed out story mode. The Division 2 and Borderlands 3, they have fleshed out story modes. Tetris 99 is terrific and I love it. And if it wins, I will be very, very happy. But there's, you know, I feel like the multiplayer aspect is more heavily focused in Apex Legends than it is anything else, even over Tetris. I think ongoing games can't be nominated again. Maybe that's what it is. Well, I have a problem with ongoing games too, with the nominations for that too. So yeah, I'm gonna say Apex Legends. I would like it to be Tetris, but I'm realistic. Division 2 is another victim of Ubisoft's vacuum cleaner. Somebody just recommended to me the Division 2. Somebody told me that's because I'm not a huge first-person fan. Somebody told me that that's actually a third-person game, so that might be a little bit more up my alley. That, and it's a game you have to work with other people. Yeah, exactly. Apex Legends as a team-based game focuses more on the idea of multiplayer. Tetris 99 is a single-player game that you play against other people. So that to me is what multiplayer is. A Division. And I don't recommend it. Fleshed out story. God. Which, by the way, there's a video of the new Call of Duty where apparently there's a mission where you're supposed to do it in stealth, you're supposed to dress up like one of the people, and then this woman takes you around and you're supposed to be setting up these bombs. And there's a video, like a 5 or 6 minute video of some guy who just decided to start killing everybody and finishes the mission by gunning down everybody. And it's ultra violent, but it's kind of hilarious at the same time. Best sports racing game: Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, Dirt Rally 2.0, eFootball Pro Evolution Soccer, F1 2019, and FIFA 20. I don't want it to be FIFA 20 just because FIFA is EA and I don't want EA to win. Okay, games like Crash Team Racing, I'm giving it to Nitro Fuel. Games like Crash Team Racing, yes, they're multiplayer, but are they sports racing, or are they really more like party games? Stuff like Mario Kart 8 feels more like a party game than a racing game. Yes, racing is the point, but I don't find it to be the fact that you're pairing racing with sports tells me that you're looking for something more in a simulation, and I don't feel like Crash Team Racing is a simulation. I would probably give this, even though I know it's not going to happen, I would probably give this to Dirt Rally 2.0. I know that it's not the most popular game, but I don't know. It seems more up my alley. More like a party game due to the battle mode. Yeah. But the microtransactions weren't implemented, it would be CTR. CTR Nitro Fuel is out for me due to they snuck in those microtransactions. Yeah, it's what a lot of people are saying. Crash Team is a great game, but it's a party kart game. Yeah, it's more like a party game. I think there needs to be a party game category, something that is a little more lighthearted but meant to be couch multiplayer. I think that needs to be a category, and I don't think that's a category on here. Best strategy game: Age of Wonders, Planetfall, Anno 1800, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Total War, Three Kingdoms, Tropico 6, Wargroove, Fire Emblem Three Houses. I think that's an easy one. I think that's a gimme. If you disagree, I'd love to read it, but realistically, I don't think anything up there is going to be more popular than Fire Emblem. And that's remember, a lot of this isn't just a quality thing, it's a popularity thing. I just don't think anybody even comes close to Three Houses. Okay. Here's where I have a problem. This is one of my first categories where I've got a real problem with the choices here. Best family game. We've got, first of all, Nintendo. Yikes. We've got Luigi's Mansion 3, Ring Fit Adventure, Mario Maker 2, Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Yoshi's Crafted World. Here's my first real problem with the category selections. All of these games are family friendly, but they are not family games. All of these, with the exception of Smash Brothers, are primarily single-player games. Being able to pass the controller off to somebody else does not count as a multiplayer game. It's a single-player game. You play it one at a time. These are family-friendly games, but they're not family games. Family games, to me, are party games. Like we said, if you were going to have a party game category, this is what would be it. The only game here that I think qualifies as a family game is Smash Brothers. Maybe Mario Maker 2, because you could say that, oh, well, your family members, you make levels and your family members have to try and beat it or something like that. All of these games are primarily single-player games, and while they are family-friendly, they are not meant to be played as a family. The only one that seems to work for the category is Smash Brothers to me, which I don't think is fair. I don't think that that's fair. I think these are bad choices. Crash Nitro Fueled should have been a selection on here. You know, that's a family game. That's a group multiplayer game. Everybody's supposed to get together and play that game. I mean, Luigi's Mansion case, it has. Is there multiplayer in Luigi's Mansion, or is it one? Or is it you hand off the controller and somebody can control Luigi and that's it? Or is there an actual multiplayer? Mario Maker 2 drink. See, and Mendez, you could say that, but realistically, you could make a drinking game out of anything. That doesn't make it a family-oriented game. That doesn't make it a party game. You know, hey, let's play Apex Legends. I'll play single player and everybody else drinks when I die or when I get a kill. That's not a family game. I mean, that's how families get started, depending on who you're hanging out with. But Bayonetta is my favorite family-friendly Smash Bros. Character. Yeah. Well, she's very cartoony. That makes her for kids. Yeah, there's actual multiplayer. And is there actual... You can play both at the same time, and it can be pretty cool to work with Luigi. All right, so maybe Luigi's Mansion 3 works. If it's not just a one-off thing, though. You can play the whole game with Luigi. It's not just a one-off thing, because if you can have a second player, but they literally have to just sit there and wait for their turn, that's sort of not the same thing. You know, when you play Smash Brothers as a group, everybody's playing together. And that's how I met your mother. Yeah, finally the show ends. So yeah, I have a problem with that selection. To me, if you're selling yourself as a family game, you need at least 3-person co-op. Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's where, when we said party game, you know, family game should be party game. And those are the games that should be in there. Because as family game, it's a very vague sort of topic. My 13-year-old cousin likes Bayonetta and Smash until they can't play our games. Yeah, we'll figure that one out later. So moving on, we have best fighting game. Best fighting game, which is Dead or Alive 6, Jump Force, Mario Kart 11, Mortal Kombat 11. Sorry, I saw the MK. Mortal Kombat 11, Samurai Showdown, and Smash Brothers. I'm amazed that Jump Force is even there. How the hell that happened, I have no idea. I really feel like they were just trying to flesh out the nominations. I don't think anybody's going to beat Smash Brothers. I don't think these choices are going to beat Smash Brothers. Mario Kart 11 Deadly Edition. I mean, if you play enough Mario Kart, it turns into Mortal Kombat. You can't vote for Smash Brothers if you argue it's not a fighting game but a party game. Yes, I'll give you that. That is the one argument. That is the one argument there. It either falls under a fighting game category or a party game category. Personally, the reason I picked Smash Brothers in the family game category is because I think it's the game that fits the category the most. But realistically, I think it would be better categorized as a fighting game, in which case I would put it as best fighting game. But Smash is only for good. Why does everybody hate Jump Force? Jump Force, I think there was a problem with like the animations and the visuals and stuff. I know everybody had a big issue with it. Yeah, I would say... Now, I think depending on how you play Smash... Well, Dragoon, and that's sort of that's a whole nother topic where you question... Smash Brothers has multiplayer mode, which is 4 players, actually up to 8 players. You could pick it as a one-on-one game, or you could play World of Light, which is like an adventure game. But you would not put Smash Brothers into the adventure category because it has an adventure mode to it. You have to decide what the game primarily is before you can start putting it into separate categories. And that's where it becomes a confusing issue. New Silver Lining Special, is Smash a fighting game? I say yes, Smash is a fighting game. I absolutely say yes, it's a fighting game. It's a party game. It has the ability to be a party game, but it's sort of like how we said party racing. You know, Mario Kart, Crash Team Racing, they're party-based racing games. I guess it can be two of them. I feel like I'm backpedaling here. I guess it can sort of be two of them, but it's, I think Smash is one of those things where it it does both. That's the thing. Smash isn't of a single player game, a one-on-one fighter with a group fighting aspect to it, and it's not a group fighting game with a one-on-one aspect to it. It is both equally. It's not an adventure game, so it wouldn't go there. Again, it has to do a lot with the category, with the categorization and what they're looking for in the categorization. And I do think that it works in both of them. I do think that it would work in a party game setting as opposed, in addition to a fighting game setting. The reason we excluded Crash Team Racing from the racing games is because racing sports sounds like racing simulation, and it's definitely not a racing simulation. It does other things, but I don't know. It's very weird. I feel like the categories are not locked in place enough. What was the whole thing? I'm sure there's a music fan out there that knows. There was the whole thing with Jethro Tull. It was like the first year that metal was a category in the Grammys, but they didn't know what it meant. So like they picked Jethro Tull because they use metal instruments, like because the guy plays a flute or something. I remember that. I remember hearing about that, and I never. Jethro Tull wins metal grant. Yeah, that's what it was. Best hard rock metal performance, vocal or instrumental. Jethro Tull won the award, which beat Metallica. A later lizard, have a good one. It's called metal because it's harder than rock. But yeah, so that was the whole thing. Like they won because they used metal instruments, and the people who were picking the category didn't understand the requirements of the category. They didn't understand the categorization of it. The debate about whether or not Smash Brothers is a party or fighting game has honestly got me thinking, why can't we just save both? Call it. I think it's party fighting. I think a party game means couch multiplayer. It's intended for everybody to hang out, and it's not meant to be taken super duper seriously. Beyond that, it has to be another kind of game. Yeah, that's the thing. It has to be another kind of. There's no such thing as a party game that isn't. Every party game is something else. Every party game is either a board game simulation, or it's a fighting game, or it's a racing game. Party game is just means how are people supposed to play it, and the way people are supposed to play it is together as a group. Up next is best Skyrim. Yeah, that's gonna end up being its own award one day. So yeah, I think that's interesting. What will be an interesting topic? Setting up categories. What kind of categorization should we see in an award ceremony? Because some of these work very well, and then some of them are very loosely associated. Not taken seriously, Aqua, not taken seriously in the party environment. When you go to a Smash tournament, it's definitely not a party environment. That is sitting down with the newspaper doing a crossword puzzle is often considered a relaxing thing. But there are crossword tournaments out there. There are people out there who get crosswords, and then the idea is that they have to finish them correctly and as quickly as possible. Once you set something up as a competition, the casuality goes out the window, and it becomes a competition. That it sort of defeats the purpose. Even then, there's a lot of discussion about that, because you could question whether or not all video games are meant to be casual and not taken seriously, but some of them kind of are. I would just like the idea of people treating games like Smash Brothers as its own unique mashup of party and fighting games. See, but that's the thing. I think that all party games need to be part of an. I don't think party is a genre. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the clarification we need. I don't think there's RPGs and racing games and fighting games and party games. I think party game is a clarification of how the game is meant to be played as far as with other people or by yourself. I think there are single player games. I think there are couch co-op games. I think there are multiplayer games. And I think there are online games. All of those categorizations indicate how you are supposed to play the game, whether it's a one person, whether it's two people together, whether it is a multiplayer competition, or whether it is a single player, but you're playing as a competition against other people online. I think that that's a categorization. And then you decide, okay, this is a single player RPG. This is a single player adventure game. This is a multiplayer fighting game. Yeah, but party isn't that. See, but and I don't think it should be. I think that party indicates how many people are playing it and how they're playing it. Take any party game. Take any real party game out there. Most people wouldn't call it a party game if you could only play it single player. You won't call it a party game. Yes, a bunch of people can get together and watch one person play it, but that's not the essence of a party game. But when you say party game, you don't know what kind of game you're talking about, because a lot of people say that that Mario Kart is a party game because you can play it in a group together. You can sit in a room with 4 people and play that game together. So a lot of people will call that a party game. A game's genre is its core mechanics. For Smash, it would be fighting. It's meant to be played at parties and for fun, but the competitive also shows how serious it can get too. Yeah, I think it's a fighting game with party aspects. I mean, nowadays you don't even have to travel to your friends to see them play. Yeah, and real edgy. You don't even have to travel anywhere anymore. So take a party game. And for anybody, name a party game. Name something that you consider a party game in the chat. Now, look at that game and say, if that game was only single player and you played against the CPU, would that game be a party game? What are the Mario Party games? Are party games? They are party board games. It is a mini game compilation that is set up in a board game structure, but the intention for Mario Party is that everybody is in the room together. Yeah, Mario Party, Skyrim 5. That is the intention of family. Yeah, Mario Party, family game night. Those games are meant to be played in a multiplayer capacity in person. Everybody is supposed to get together and play those games at the same time together. That, to me, is a party game. Yeah, imagine if Mario Party only had online. You could not play couch co-op with other people. You could only play that game against other people online. Nobody would call it a party game. It would be an online multiplayer game, but it would not be a party game, because if 5 people got together to play it, it would be 4 people watching one person play it. Steam's new feature to remote play with friends. I think that that's just a feature. I think that it is a feature that is added to games. I think the question there is the core mechanic of the game and the core design of the game. But I'm sorry, we went on like a crazy tangent. So I apologize for that. So we're gonna blast through some of these other ones. We have another. Okay, best RPG: Disco Elysium, Final Fantasy XIV, Kingdom Hearts 3, Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, Outer Worlds. I question whether or not Final Fantasy XIV should be on this list. That is an MMO. That is a massive multiplayer online RPG. Yes, it's an RPG, so technically it belongs there. But when you think of RPGs, you tend to think of single-player games with massive stories, and I question whether or not an MMO should be in the regular RPG listing. I think there should be an MMO category and an RPG category. I think there should be two separate categories because functionally they are different kinds of games. I'd say Kingdom Hearts. Beyond my issue with Final Fantasy XIV being there, I'd probably say Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah, it's Monster Hunter seems like a monster hunting game. Outer Worlds, I haven't played. I mean, I haven't really played any of these, but Kingdom Hearts seems like the most traditional explanation of an RPG. How Dragon Quest isn't there, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know how Dragon Quest is not on that list. Even Fire Emblem Three Houses, I kind of think should be on that list. I will argue for 14. The new expansion Shadowbringer is big enough to be its own game with a story to match. I get the argument. It should be either MMO or should get its own category. Yeah, you've got a little Final Fantasy bias. Okay. Hold on. I'm checking something out here. Okay. All right. So yeah. So that's my issue with was Dragon Quest. No, Dragon Quest 11 is not there. Dragon Quest 11 is not there. All right. So best RPG, best action adventure: Borderlands 3, Control, which I actually heard was really good. I'm interested in checking that game out. Death Stranding, Resident Evil Remake 2, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. The only game on here that I played was Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and I honestly don't believe it should win. I think the game is great. It's delightful. We had a good time playing it here on stream. I don't believe that game should win. I feel like this should either go to Sekiro or Resident Evil 2. Personally, I would give it to Resident Evil 2. Fire Emblem Three Houses, I don't know. Dragon Quest 11, I assume would be due to the PS4 version coming out last year. Yes, I don't know. I guess maybe was it categorized last year? Maybe that's the problem. I voted the Outer Worlds, Kingdom Hearts, but difficulty was too easy. I want to play Control, but EGS. Resident Evil Remake, mostly because it's the only game on that list I played. Death Stranding shouldn't be on that list. Lilac, that's a problem that I have all the time. I don't like that super recent games get to be on these lists. I think there should be a cutoff before nominations are picked for games, and I think the cutoff should be at least 2 months before, because the only reason Death Stranding is on here and the only reason Death Stranding got so many nominations, I'm sorry if we got some Death Stranding lovers out there, but I honestly believe that one of the main reasons that it's on so many choices is because it just came out and it's fresh in everybody's mind. What's the category? Best action adventure is the category for this one. Yeah, I think that the only reason it's on, it got 10 nominations. 10 nominations for categories, including Game of the Year, which I'm jumping ahead, but including Game of the Year. How can it be Game of the Year and it's been out for like 2 weeks? I'm sorry, but no. Yeah, plus Hideo Kojima. Yeah, that's probably. Best action game. Rattle them off again. Borderlands 3, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil Remake 2, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. One big issue is why does Death Stranding get on there, but not Star Wars Fallen Order? Yeah, somebody else. Who was that mentioned that? Green Soul mentioned that. Which is a really good game. Yeah, it's because it missed the cutoff apparently. Okay, best action game. Apex Legends, Astral Chain, which good on you, Astral Chain. Good on you for getting a Game Awards nomination. Brand new IP, I love it. That did not get a lot of attention. I should specify, brand new IP that did not get a lot of attention because Apex Legends is a brand new IP. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Devil May Cry 5, Gears 5, and Metro Exodus. From what I have seen of these games, I would probably go Gears 5. Gears 5 seemed to be the most storyline driven and most interesting. I know Devil May Cry is storyline driven, but and I know Metro Exodus is, but I feel like Gears 5 probably is the one that's going to get the win. I don't really have a preference. I didn't really play any of them. Besides, I played Apex Legends a little bit. I didn't really like it that much just because of the kind of game that it is. Gears 5 seems, from what I watched of each of these games, Gears 5 was the most interesting to me. Given this one, the Astral Chain, the game is so good. What do we got here? Best VR AR game. I think this one's another gimme. We got Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth, Beat Saber, No Man's Sky, and Trover Saves the Universe. What do you say, chat? Who takes this one? Because I think there's a clear winner here. I prefer when shooters were their own category. Astral Chain fits this category, as does DMC5. Beat Saber, hands down. Beat Saber. I really thought you'd say DMC. Anything except Trover. I think Beat Saber. To me, Beat Saber is the clear winner in this one. I don't think it's even close. I'll be honest, I did not even know that there was a No Man's Sky VR version. Everything else I've never even heard of. Later, Jeffersonia, have a good one. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Or I will read you tomorrow. Best community support. This one I find very weird. I'm very unclear as to what category this is. Best community support. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. I'm very confused as to what this means. Does it mean community support in-game? Does it mean community support outside of the game? If it means outside of the game, Fortnite. If it means inside the game, Final Fantasy 14. It's an MMO. It's all about community support. But I'm just not entirely sure what the category means. So I'm going to have to give it to... it probably means outside of the game, in which case I'm going to give it to Fortnite. Sekiro? Yeah, Shakira, Shadows Die Twice. Oh, well, Sekiro is amazing because Shadows Die Twice, but hips never lie. Best mobile game. Best independent game. No. Best mobile game. I assume it means community both inside and out of the game, which would give it to Final Fantasy 14. Yeah. If that's the case, then yeah, I'm going to give it to 14. I think if it means inside the game, then Final Fantasy 14 wins that easily. Best mobile game. Call of Duty Mobile, Grindstone, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sky Children of Light, and What the Golf. I'm going to move on here. Never heard of any of those games. Boo! What, don't you all have phones? Best independent game. You know what my choice is going to be, but Baba Is You, Disco Elysium, Katana Zero, Outer Worlds, Untitled Goose Game. I don't think there's any question of what my selection is going to be there. I basically already stated it earlier. So there you go. It's Goose Game. Wow, that's amazing. I don't care about any one of those games. Outer Worlds. Did that say Outer Worlds? Outer Wilds. I'm sorry. See, I almost did that earlier, and I did it this time. Outer Wilds. But yeah, Untitled Goose Game. Come on. Best ongoing game. This is a weird one. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. I feel like Final Fantasy 14 takes this over Fortnite. Here's where I have a question about Fortnite. On this, and even in a couple of the other categories. My understanding after last year's Game Awards nominations fiasco is that games need to have full versions out before they are eligible to win certain awards. I am questioning whether or not Fortnite is allowed to be here, because if anybody plays Fortnite, it still says early access. So I'm not entirely, this is probably just ignorance on my part, but I'm not entirely sure should Fortnite be eligible for some of these awards, considering that when you play the game, it still says early access, which to me makes it sound like a full version of the game, an official version of the game, is not technically out. Is it in Fortnite? It's in Fortnite mode 2, and it still says early access. When you play the game and you see the loading screens, it still says early access. What I'm wondering is if the Save the World mode is not considered complete. Yeah, technically Fortnite is still kind of considered early beta. Like, I remember hearing, yes, early access is just something devs do to hide the fact that their game is buggy AF. Real edgy, I actually heard a similar excuse for that, which is not to hide that the game is buggy, but to cover themselves for the fact that they are constantly changing the game. See, Fortnite isn't just constantly releasing new guns. They're not putting new guns out and taking old guns out. They are constantly changing the structure of the game. They're rebalancing everything on an extremely regular basis. I had always heard that they are, the only way they'd be allowed to do that is if the game is still considered early access. But my understanding with the Game Awards was that games have to be out of early access or beta in order for them to be eligible. So I'm not entirely sure. And again, this is all my ignorance. So if anybody knows more clearly, that would be an interesting clarification. But yes, my understanding is that it shouldn't be eligible for some of these. That being said, I think Final Fantasy XIV should probably be the better choice there anyway. I want to give it to Apex mostly for doing a lot more than Fortnite has, and it isn't open beta, but Final Fantasy XIV deserves. Yeah, Apex is probably going to win, but, we'll see what happens. The next category is games for impact, which is Concrete Genie, Gris, Kind Words, Life is Strange 2, and Sea of Solitude. Life is Strange 2 is really the only one that I've ever actually solidly heard of. So I'm going to say that it's going to go to Life is Strange 2. Again, not entirely sure what that category means, but I'm going to say Life is Strange 2. Yeah, Fortnite can remove the early access hat. I think we all know that it's BS at this point. Okay. Best performance. We have Ashley Birch as Parvati Holcomb in The Outer Worlds, Courtney Hope as Jesse Faden in Control, Laura Bailey as Kate Diaz in Gears 5, Mads Mikkelsen as Cliff in Death Stranding, Matthew Peretta as Dr. Casper Darling in Control, and Norman Reedus as Sam Porter Bridges in Death Stranding. I feel like it's going to go to Norman Reedus just for the star power. As far as who should actually win, I have no idea. But I feel like it's going to go to Norman Reedus. I'm thinking maybe games with an impactful story. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but yeah, if you want games with impact, I mean, Fallout 76 had quite an impact on society. So yeah, I'm not familiar with any of these characters. I didn't play any of these games, so I really should just sit down and just play video games, and that's it. Troy Baker got snubbed due to him being pro-unions. Laura Bailey was great in Gears 5, but Parvati from Outer Worlds is my girl. I hear people liked him in Death Stranding. Okay, so Troy Baker, people liked in Death Stranding, but he's pro. What is he? He's pro Hong Kong? Is that what it is? The whole Hong Kong thing? Is that what's going on? Norman Reedus is Norman Reedus because video games are trying to be movies. Uh, some people, because video games because video games require a lot more time. They demand more of the consumer than just sitting down for 2 hours and watching something. It demands your attention in a total way. So people don't like video games as much. As far as performances go, the video games have more performance than movies. Why be pro Hong Kong when you can be pro Jack? I'd rather be pro Hong Kong. Yeah, I think Norman Reedus is just gonna be. I think he's gonna win that one. Best audio design: Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Control, Death Stranding, Gears 5, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro. I have no opinion on this. I think audio design is extremely important, but I don't have experience with those. Best score music: Cadence of Hyrule, Death Stranding. Cadence of Hyrule, congratulations, good job. Death Stranding, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, Sayonara Wild Hearts. I'm not familiar with either one of those. I find it interesting. I think Cadence of Hyrule has a very interesting chance there, considering that game was focused on the music. So that's interesting to see. I think it's going to be one of the more popular ones. I think it's going to be something like Kingdom Hearts 3. But I kind of want Cadence of Hyrule to win just because I would love to see an indie game come out on top of one of these. Too many licensed songs. Yeah, I think if you have too many licensed songs, it's not fair. It's almost like cheating. Resident Evil 2 has good audio design for whatever. Okay. Best art direction. We got a few more. We got to blast through these because I didn't realize how long we were going. Best art direction: Control, Death Stranding, Gris, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sekiro, and Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I'm going to give this to Link's Awakening. I think that Link's Awakening has the most unique art style out of all of these, and I think it did it perfectly. Whether or not you liked it is a matter of opinion. What I'm talking about here is whether or not it did that art direction well, and I think Link's Awakening was a very unique art direction that it did fantastically. River City Girls deserve the soundtrack. Not interesting. I'll die on a hill for that one. You just biased towards your child. Yes, I am. I wish I had him back here. My boy, Link's Awakening amiibo. Best narrative: A Plague's Tale, in a sense, Control, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, and The Outer Worlds. For what I have watched of these games, I will give this to A Plague's Tale. I think that A Plague's Tale is probably, from what I have seen, the most narrative driven of these games. So I will probably give this to A Plague Tale over everything else. I know that's a weird one. Best game direction: Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro, Outer Worlds. I don't know that I have a selection for these. Game direction is something that I really should have experienced the game to understand. Outer Worlds going to win for space communism. Voted Outer Worlds again. Okay, we got to Outer Worlds, people. I should probably... I'm hearing Outer Worlds is like the best next Fallout game. So that seems to be how people are talking about it. It's interesting. I wouldn't mind checking it out. And then we're at the big one. Now we're at the big boy. This is the big one. This is Game of the Year. This has probably a couple of the most interesting choices. Control, which I have heard of, but didn't realize that it was good enough to be nominated for Game of the Year. Death Stranding, which I have a problem with because Death Stranding came out 2 weeks ago. I don't know that anybody should have been able to experience that game enough to be picking it for Game of the Year. It's the game of the month, very clearly, but whether or not it should be picked for Game of the Year, I don't know. It should be eligible for Game of the Year. I don't know. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a choice for Game of the Year. Wow. That's pretty interesting. It's definitely a surprise. I would not have imagined that they put that on there. Outer Worlds is a good Fallout in space. It uses more up-to-date D&D style system, and the choices are varied enough to make you feel like you have an impact. Interesting. What's Control? Never heard of it. I've been reading about it. It seems kind of interesting. It looks fine. It looks like a good game. That's BS. It came out last year. That's one of my questions with Smash Brothers. When last year did Smash Brothers come out? It came out last year and missed the cutoff. That's what it is. So the fact that this game missed the cutoff barely, which means it is, if I understand, late November, early December. So then Smash Brothers on this list is the oldest game, right? That makes it the oldest game on this list. It's fascinating that it was able to be chosen. Control is made by the guys who made Alan Wake, Max Payne, and Quantum Break. You have a freaking Jedi. All right, see you Cosmic Time Lord. I think you just sold me on Control specifically because you said Max Payne, and I was a big Max Payne fan. Even though I never got to play the third one. Came out too late. Yeah, so it missed the cutoff last year. December 7th. It came out December 7th. So yeah, that would have missed the cutoff because that would have been just on or around the Game Awards. So I'm fascinated that that's on there. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Nice to see that a remake game is being considered for Game of the Year. I like it. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice and The Outer Worlds. This one, I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to be Control. I don't think it's going to be Outer Worlds. I honestly think it could be any one of the other four choices. Well, it's a fantastic game. Max Payne's actor is actually in the game. Is Max Payne's actor really? Oh my god. I'd say Shakira. I want tonight because Sekiro, because I don't know. I got a hips don't lie lyric that I gotta write for that. Yeah, I don't know what to choose here. Resident Evil 2 seemed like the most accessible kind of game. Sekiro was aimed squarely at the, if you liked Dark Souls for as hard as it was, play Sekiro. That was how I always seen that game not advertised but promoted by people. Smash Brothers obviously is extremely, extremely popular. Death Stranding, I don't want to win just because it came out 2 weeks ago. I don't think that it should be eligible. I really don't. I think that the cutoff for eligibility should be well over a month before the nominations are picked. I don't think that it's fair. What's this? I'm going with Smash because it's the only game out of the nominees I actually care about. I want that Shakira game to be the next Michael Jackson Moonwalker. If it played exactly like the original with cleaned up visuals, then no. Okay, yeah. Yeah, but you know what? It's a remake, but when you consider how much it changes, I think it counts enough as its own game. I don't put it this way. If it was a port, I'd be upset, but it is clearly not a port. Sad thing is Death Stranding will win just because and that Lilac, and that's what bothers me the most. That's what I mean. Let's be honest. I don't take this seriously anymore ever since Red Dead Redemption 2 won a bunch of awards last year because it almost was very obvious that they were bought. Those awards were bought and paid for. I think it was Red Dead that won a bunch of awards. It was like, wow, they just really bought those awards, didn't they? It's between Death Stranding and Smash. I would put it between Smash Brothers and Resident Evil 2. Me personally, I'd put it between those two. I would pick Smash just because I am a Smash player. But yeah, I don't think Death Stranding should even be there. Yeah, Game of the Year 2019 goes to Red Dead Redemption 2. What? 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 Yeah, the Red Dead Award. Yeah, I remember it was like they won a bunch of awards, and it was like, what? Come on. But they had to redeem something, right? So those are the nominations. Wow, we ate up most of the show talking about that. I apologize. That went a little bit longer than we were expecting. I had another topic. We can still sort of talk about it, but I really don't want to. It's the Crunchyroll Anime Awards all over again. What reminded me of the Game Awards reminds me a lot of the MTV Awards. They used to have like the Teen Choice Awards. They would have the Teen Choice Awards, and the Teen Choice Awards was like a waste of time because they would announce the nominations and then people would clap, and then whoever got the loudest applause was always the winner. So it was no point in even really watching it. Like it was very easy to tell what every winner was going to be. Even before the clapping, you could tell. But they would clap, and you're like, oh, they won. There was no upsets. I don't know. It's not interesting. Award shows themselves are very. It's nice to have award shows. It's nice to have a goal. When you're in an industry, it's nice to have a goal to work towards. But I think for most industries, most creative industries like that, I think most people will say money is the thing you're aiming for. You know what I mean? Like Fortnite. Fortnite didn't win. I don't think it won multiplayer game of the year the one year. They made $3 billion in a year. I don't think they care that they didn't win an award. What about the Nick Kids Choice Award? Isn't that the one where they would give out like surfboards and they would dump slime on people? I only watch for the middle part. Yeah. It's. I mean, we'll talk about that with the game when the Game Awards is closer. But we watch it for the other stuff. We watch it for the game trailers. We watch it for the surprise announcements. We watch it for the crazy stuff that happens on stage. The awards are like, they might as well give the awards out during commercial breaks and then show us the rest of the stuff while the show's going on. Golden Joystick Award was voted by British public. Days Gone won Best Story. Interesting. My mother used to tell me that I can't buy trophies. Obviously, yeah, she doesn't follow the game industry. Or the what's the other one? For movies and shows, the Golden Globes. People have argued for years that the Golden Globes are bought and paid for. Running on fumes, I'm going to call it here. Have a good one, Trios. Get some sleep. Have a good one, and I will see you next time. Will you be streaming? No, I won't be streaming the Game Awards. Usually I have to work the next day, and the Game Awards always goes to like 1 in the morning. I'm going to try and take the day off after the Game Awards. I'm going to try and schedule that day so that I can actually watch the whole Game Awards. But the Game Awards is, if I get to see it, I get to see it. If not, I'm just gonna read. You're gonna read about it the next day. Raid Shadow. Latimer. I don't think Raid Shadow Legends is eligible because they're probably paying for the whole thing. I've been falling out of love with the war shows the past few years, mostly because of how predictable they can be in terms of the most popular stuff. Yeah, we don't get the surprises anymore like we used to. We don't get the like, oh my god, this movie came out of nowhere or anything. There's just so much information out there that it's hard to miss something, But in all seriousness, I think the new announcements will live up to the hype because the awards won't. Yeah, the announcements will be better than the awards. Let's at least agree on that. All right. So I don't have a picture here, so I'm not even gonna bother pushing the topic change button. But while let's finish this up and offer up some viewer top. Oh wait, do I at least have my? Wait, where's my viewer topics? Oh, hold on a second here. Huh? Wow, I don't even have any viewer topics loaded up. So, viewer topics. If you have any questions, any topics that you want to bring up and discuss, feel free to do so. I will not be discussing Kappa. I don't know that there's a whole lot to say on that right now. Game of the Year goes to La La Land. Yeah, how the hell did that happen? The only reason I'll watch this year is the possibility of a trailer for the next Batman game. I think we're really gonna watch the Game Awards because we want to see who the next Smash Brothers character is. Half-Life Alyx. A new Half-Life game was announced. Half-Life Alyx, which is going to be a VR game. When I heard Half-Life game, I did not play Half-Life 1 and 2, but I know people that were huge fans of it, and it always seemed like a cool series, so I did want to get into it at some point. I started playing it one time, and I started playing it back when it was given to me on PC, and I was on mouse and keyboard, and I could not do it. I was not a mouse and keyboard person, so I never played it. When they said Half-Life, when they said new Half-Life, I said, new Half-Life. And then they said Half-Life Alyx, not Half-Life 3. I said, okay. I mean, technically it's the third one, so it's sort of like 3. And then they said VR game. And I went, And then I saw it. There's a 2-minute trailer. It's like a little trailer for it. Half-Life Alyx could be the game that gets people into VR. For anybody that has not actually watched a trailer for it, visually, it's beautiful. It's a great looking game. It looks like it provides the immersion that we imagine when we think of VR games. See, when most people think of VR games, when I think of VR games, I think of the immersion factor. I think of putting on a headset and you're in this world. But usually what we see from a lot of VR games is a world that is unbelievable. You know, you put your headset on and you're in Beat Saber world. It's beautiful, but it's not the same thing. We think of VR games as a sort of environmental simulator. And this is what Half-Life Alyx looks like. Go ahead and watch the 2-minute demo. And yeah, this could be the game that gets a lot of people saying, I should probably pick up a VR thing. It doesn't bypass the biggest obstacle for VR. And the biggest obstacle for VR is the price. You know, it's still $300, $400, $500 in order to get a VR headset. If you're going to do it on PC, you need a strong enough PC to run it. If you do the PS4, that's fantastic. But you need a PS4, and then you need the VR set, which I think the VR stuff was like $250 on its own. So that's still the biggest obstacle to get past when it comes to entering the world of VR. But this game looks like it could convince a lot of people to do that. To anyone that didn't like that it's a VR title, think of it this way. At least it wasn't Half-Life Mobile. Gavin and his crew have been really focusing on VR these days. I'm excited since it can open the door to the Half-Life series returning. Mega Man Legacy Collection led to Mega Man 11. So it's a similar case. It's still going to be exclusive to people with good gaming CPUs. Yeah, that's the only thing. I don't think it's PSVR. I think it's something else. Yeah, it won't be PS. Yeah, it will not be PSVR. It is not yet anyway. It is going to be, I think, just PC. So that is also an obstacle to deal with. But if it looks good enough, we're gonna see it on other things. We definitely are. Yeah, and Latimer, yeah, it's an inaccurate. It's not a bad example. It's just an inaccurate example. You know, the whole joke about don't you all have phones? I mean, he was right. Yes, everybody has a smartphone. You know, in our geeky world, most of us have smartphones that are capable of running mobile games. So the idea of the games being inaccessible is ridiculous. VR is still very inaccessible for a lot of people. This might be a game that makes people look at it and say, all right, this might be something to pay attention to. I'll be honest, there are a couple of VR games that I would really like to try. I would really like to play Super Hot. I really want to try Beat Saber out. this game looks like a game that I really want to play. I really want to see what they can do in a strong VR setting. We have the Batman casting, John Turturro as Carmine okay, I didn't know that they announced that. John Turturro, I like John Turturro, so I'll take him. Steam VR, but it's compatible with a lot of VR headsets. So we'll have to see. But we only just got the announcement for the game, so for all we know, before the game comes out, they're going to make it accessible to more things. GameXplain called it a possible Mario 64 for VR. Maybe. I think people making the jump to Nintendo 64 was an easier jump than going to VR. VR is a whole different kind of experience that a lot of people don't have any interest in getting involved in. Vive Index, Oculus, and Windows Mixed Reality. Okay. Wish someone would try VR at arcades. That would get more people into it. That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting setup. If it's a party game, it's a single player focus, but the game still has a multiplayer compatibility. Like Mario Party would it still count as a party game? No. Okay, but the game still has single player compatibility. Okay, so here's the problem, Fox. Mario Party is not a single player game with a multiplayer aspect to it. The intention of Mario Party is that it's multiplayer. Oh, you mean Mario Party on the GBA? No, I don't think that Mario Party on the GBA is at its core a multiplayer a party game. I think it's meant to be a handheld game, but it has a multiplayer aspect to it. I look at the primary selling point of the game.
To me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Willis the Warper? What? Is that what I'm saying? Scroll the wrong window there. Willis the Warper, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciate that. Thanks, GameXplain. I need more remake. Half-Life was used originally to show off what they could do with the current engine and PC. You put those two things together, and I read it as PC engine and was very confused. I think VR's problem is it's good with the simple indie games, but the price tag is more aligned. Yeah, the price tag is more aligned to what you expect to pay for a refined and high-end AAA experience. That's the problem. I think VR has an accessibility issue. I think if you sold VR headsets as add-ons to home console systems for $100, I think you would lose money on the VR headsets, but you would create an accessibility that would allow more developers to want to make games for it and would be more profitable to make games for it. I think $100 VR headset plus your Xbox One or your PS4 with a decent pack-in game, I think would create an amazing amount of attention in a positive way. To this day, the Wii is still one of the highest, I think the highest highest selling home console system. And one of its most popular games was the pack-in game that came with it. I think that if VR had something like that, if VR was at a more accessible price and had a game that was irresistible for people to play, I think they'd be flying off the shelves. What are your thoughts on the Kingdom Come Superman and Kevin Conroy Batman design? Did not see them. I would have to see that. I mean, you said Kevin Conroy, so I have paid attention. But I did not see them, so I apologize for that. If I remember correctly, only 0.32% of the Steam user base has access to a VR headset. No, Mr. Is that L92 or I92? In the hunt with a Twitch Prime sub, thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. Thank you for using that Twitch Prime sub. Anybody else, if you have Amazon Prime and you link your Twitch account to it, you get Twitch Prime. Or if you have Twitch Prime, you just have it on your own. Every month you get a free subscription that you can offer to somebody. Feel free to go ahead and use that here. It would be very much appreciated. That's kind of what Labo. See, the problem with Labo is my understanding is that you have to hold it. Labo doesn't count as VR because Labo you have to hold on to it, so it's not the same thing for me. A VR to me needs to be strapped to your head. New HL game is clearly taking advantage of Valve Index finger tracking controllers, and that headset is that's the only problem is the headset is $1,000, man. Some really big VR games are Resident Evil 7. I will dispute that, but 1 second. Elite Dangerous, not on PSVR yet. No Man's Sky, Moss. Otherwise, most tend to either be small indie games or the more common would be small games that feel. All right, so Lilac, the problem with some of those Resident Evil 7 and No Man's Sky in particular is that they are non-VR games, but there are VR versions of it. That does not send people towards VR because if they want to play those games, they would just play the non-VR version of those games. VR needs a high-end exclusive game that you have to get VR to get to be able to experience, but the price still needs to drop. The price still needs to be accessible because I don't care how good your game is, no one's going to pay $200 and $300 to play just that one game. They need to know that when they're investing in VR, that there is a suite of games that they can play and be very much into. Unless you drop the price significantly, in which case people will say $50, $100, that's worth giving a shot. You seen the Sonic 3 Pro? I haven't seen the Sonic 3 prototype Neon, but I do want to look into it. It's apparently like the full version of the game, which had some extra things, including like the drop dash and all. I know of it. No head strap for the Labo. Put a stamp on myself. They could add one later, I suppose. Yeah, it's not Dragoon. I saw a video where somebody did that, where somebody added a strap to the Labo headset. The problem is it's not padded, so it's not comfortable. It's not designed for you to be strapped to your head, so it's not very comfortable. Thoughts on the Titans Nightwing costume or Black Adam having the JSA? I don't know about the Black Adam thing. I saw a picture of The Rock as Black Adam, which I thought looked fantastic. The Titan, let me look at this Titans Nightwing costume. I feel like I saw it. Nightwing costume. I feel like I saw this, but yeah, I saw pictures of it. It's a cool looking costume. It's I don't know if it's clearly Nightwing, but it's a cool looking costume. I think it looks cool. You could always make it red and make it Batman Beyond's costume, but whatever. Crazy thing is taking me as DVD. Okay. Price would be an issue, and those are the games I could think of to show off VR. Yeah, other games also have the same thing. Yeah, Doom, Skyrim, Fallout. Yeah, they all have VR versions of standard TV games, so it's considered more like a novelty than it is the definitive experience. Remember the 3DS price drop? Yeah. Well, the 3DS had a problem because it came out. Everybody thought it came out priced way too high, but yeah, the price drop. The price dropped, and people went out and bought it in droves, and it turned out to be an incredibly popular system. But we are at the end now. Actually, Doom VFR is not. Oh, it's not 2016 in VR. Okay, so we got Doom. All right, you got one. We're getting there. We're getting there. Which video game franchise do you want to see get an adaptation movie or a TV show? That's a big topic. We'll probably have to save that for another time. I don't know. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna answer that question, and then we're gonna wrap things up here. But I'm gonna cheat, and I'm going to say that I would like to see more Warcraft movies. I know Warcraft already had a movie, which was not very well accepted, but I thought was a great movie. I would love to see more movies in the Warcraft franchise. I know it's cheating because that's a franchise that already got a movie, but I want to see more movies in that franchise because there are some great stories there. I would like to see the story of Thrall. I would like to see the story of Jaina Proudmoore, but we're gonna start geeking out, so I don't want to do that. But I want to thank everybody for stopping in and for hanging out, being part of this extra long, beefy discussion. I apologize for running so long. We normally get a few topics in. Today, you know, I had a feeling the Game Awards topic was going to run a little bit long. I hate doing ultra long topics just because it feels like an ultra long ramble, and I don't like losing people halfway through. But we're gonna I love a Three Houses or Awakening anime. Super Hot VR is not the console game. Yeah, that's what I hear. Super Hot to me is a game that should be played in VR, but I didn't even realize there was a non-VR version of it, which apparently the non-VR version came first. But if you're watching this live right now, be sure to go ahead and check the links down below. Follow me over on Twitter, which is where I post all kinds of fun stuff, and I post updates about the streams. And we stream here 4 days a week. We do Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We do video game streams from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern, and Fridays we do this show, which is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. If you are also follow me on YouTube, which is where I will post these episodes, and then very rarely I'll post something else on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, also check the links down below. Follow me over on Twitter and follow me over on Twitch, which is, like I said, we do this show on Fridays, and we stream 4 days a week. Also, if you're here right now and you're so inclined, feel free to go ahead and click follow. And if you have a Twitch Prime sub, or if you've got an extra $5, feel free to go ahead and click subscribe. That will help us out very, very much here. We always appreciate any and all support that we can get. But thank you everybody for stopping in. Have a fantastic weekend. If you're watching this live right now, so the 20 or 30 people that are here right now, be sure to tune in to Some Call Me Johnny's YouTube and Twitch channels tomorrow, starting at noon, where we will be doing a charity stream to benefit the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So be sure to tune in for that and watch us fail at some Donkey Kong games and pretty much just have a good time. But have a good weekend, everybody. Play some fun games. Stop into the charity stream. Watch some anime. Watch a good show or two, and let me know how you feel about it. And I will see you all next time.